Hey guys, here we are at part 1 of the story. Another mob attacks Naruto, and the third Hokage takes a decision that will make Naruto a dangerous shinobi. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe button. Now, let's jump right in. The third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen had a look of disappointment on his face as he looked down on the people of his village from his office in the Hokage Tower. The look of disappointment was not only for the people of the village but also for himself for his inability to protect the 6-year-old blonde child healing on his couch behind him. The 6-year-old was one Naruto Uzumaki, Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tailed Demon Fox. He was brought to the Hokage about 10 minutes ago after yet another attack by the people of this village who couldn't tell the difference between a kunai and the scroll it was sealed into. What have I condemned this child to? No one deserves the pain he's been through, thought Sarutobi. Sensing an incoming chakra, he turned towards the spot where an Anbu wearing a crow mask appeared in a Shunsen report. Crow, he said in a stern voice. Hokage-sama, everyone involved with the attack on Naruto has been rounded up and taken to Ibiki. At last count there were 14 civilians, 3 Jinnan, 3 Chunin and 1 Jonin, Crow replied in a monotone voice. Sighing deeply, the Hokage said, tell Ibiki no kid gloves. He has my full support to do whatever he wants to the shinobi. Give the civilians to Anko, tell her the only restrictions are they are to be kept alive. I want them to be made examples of for breaking my laws. Why do I have the sudden urge to kiss the Hokage full on the mouth? Said the scarred interrogation specialist. I don't know, but does it feel like Christmas to you? Asked his purple-haired partner. Kami Crow thought giving Ibiki and Anko free rein to do what they please. It would be more merciful to have them killed after their quality time with those two. Hi Hokage-sama, he said out loud and disappeared in a swirl of leaves. After Crow left, Sarutobi made his way over to the couch Naruto was sleeping on. Looking down on the child, he couldn't help but shake his head at what this village has done to such an innocent child. His usually golden blonde hair was caked with drying blood. His white shirt and blue shorts were torn and bloodied and his feet were dirty and bare. Not being able to stomach the thought of this happening to Naruto again, the Hokage made a decision. The only decision the Hokage knew of that could make up for the life Naruto has lived so far. Decision made, Sarutobi motioned for his hidden Anbu stationed around the office to reveal themselves. 4 Anbu appeared kneeling in front of the Hokage with their heads bowed. They were dog, crane, bear, and lizard. I'm about to initiate a SSS class protocol. You're all to wait outside until I call for you, he said. The Anbu hesitated for a moment. It was rare for such a code to used. An SSS class protocol was code for no matter what you hear, do not enter this office unless you're suicidal and kill anyone who tries to enter the office no matter rank or position in the village. After receiving a glare from the Hokage, they all left to take up positions outside the room. After the Anbu left the room, the Hokage put up one of his strongest sound and security barriers. Moving to the center of the room, the Hokage pulled aside the plain black rug that was in the center of the room. Breaking the genjutsu on the floor, a very intricate seal was revealed. Biting his thumb, the Hokage knelt over the seal, wrote his name in the center of the seal and also placed his bloody fingerprints underneath his name like he would on signing summoning scroll. Next he made a hand seal with his index finger and middle fingers of both hands crossed with each other, shadow clone jutsu. He shouted and created 3 reinforced clones, each with about 20% of his chakra. After using that much chakra, he was panting slightly. Alright, you know what to do. Each of you stand at a cardinal point of the seal. When each clone took a position, he continued, now we must all time this exactly. If even one of us is off, it won't work, so on the count of 3 we'll start the seals. 1, 2, 3. At 3 all 4 beings ran through 50 hand seals in a blur that only a master of the Sharingan could catch a glimpse of. On the last seal, all 4 beings slammed their hands down on a part of the seal in front of them. 2 things happened. The 3 clones disappeared and a puff of smoke and a big black scroll with the kanji for fire on it sat in the middle of the seal on the floor. That was amazing, Gigi. Do it again, said an excited childish voice said. Sarutobi turned surprised eyes to the voice. Naruto-kun, how long have you been awake? He asked, panting a little. Right before you slapped the ground and those extra U's disappeared, he said. Chuckling slightly, Sarutobi reached into his robes and pulled out a food pill. After eating the pill, he took a deep breath, already feeling most of his chakra returning. He then picked up the scroll from the floor and went to the couch to sit next to the young blonde. How are you feeling, Naruto? He asked, already dreading the answer. Naruto gave a shrug of his small shoulders and looked at his Gigi with a sad smile. I'm fine, Gigi, I'm used to it by now. Sarutobi knew he didn't want an answer to that question. Naruto-kun, this scroll I hold in my hands is my apology for the life you have suffered here in the village. Before you interrupt, I want to explain what I mean. A 6-year-old child should not be used to waking up from repeated beatings from a mob. Nor should they be forced to live alone or withstand looks of anger and hatred. Naruto. 6 years ago a terrible disaster struck this village. The disaster was the nine-tailed fox. The fox killed a lot of people that day and nearly destroyed the village in a single night. I know that Gigi, you've told me this story before, said a confused Naruto. The fourth Hokage sacrificed himself, killing it. The nine-tailed fox was a chakra constructed, had no life to end. The fourth Hokage couldn't kill such a being, so he sealed it away. Now Naruto wasn't stupid by any means. He could put 2 and 2 together and get 4, the isolation from the other villagers, the looks, the beatings. So he sealed it in me. Why me? Out of everyone in the village, why did he choose me? He asked on the verge of tears. Sighing, the Hokage walked to his desk and retrieved a framed picture from one of the drawers and brought it back to Naruto. This is a picture of the fourth Hokage and his wife, the old man said, handing the picture to Naruto. Naruto turned the picture around and gasped at the sight. In the picture was a man with his wild blonde hair and blue eyes standing behind a woman with deep red hair and violet eyes. They were both smiling softly at the camera and the woman had a noticeable swell in her stomach. These are your parents, Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki. Namikaze. Kushina was the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi before you were. He stopped there when Naruto looked at him with shock. Yes, it's true. On the night of your birth, Minato and I took great precaution because we knew that the seal holding the Kyuubi and Kushina would weaken with the strain of childbirth. I don't know the details because I wasn't there, but someone infiltrated the birthing chamber and released the Kyuubi from the seal on your mother. By the time I arrived on the scene to possibly help Minato, the Kyuubi was already sealed within you and Minato was dying. His wish was for you to be seen as a hero, but the people refused to acknowledge your parents' sacrifice and Minato's wish. Old man, I'm a constant reminder of what they lost that night. It's no wonder they hate me. They were both quiet for a while before Naruto decided to get to the point of these discoveries. You're telling me all this for a reason, so what is it? Is that scroll something my parents left for me? He asked. Picking up the big scroll, the Hokage laid it across his lap before speaking. No, Naruto, this is not something your parents left for you. This is the village's most well-kept secret and most valuable treasures. The contents within this scroll will help you become one of the most powerful shinobi ever to walk the elemental nations. You will even become more powerful than me someday, he said, looking straight into Naruto's eyes. To say Naruto was shocked would be an understatement. He was shocked not only by what the old man said but also by the look in his eyes. He had never seen that look before. You're starting to scare me a little, Gigi. Why would you give me all this power? What if I used it to destroy the village instead of help it? After what I've seen this village become for the past 6 years, they deserve every bit of your hatred, and so do I. 6 years ago I placed my faith in the people of Konoha to look beyond their fear and hatred of the Kyuubi and see a child with a heavy burden to bear. I misplaced my faith in so many people. By giving you this scroll I'm asking you to forgive an old man his mistakes, he said solemnly. I'm not stupid, Gigi. I know you can't be there all the time. You have an entire village to look after, not just one person. You were there when you could be. You tried and that counts for something, so I forgive you. Thank you, Naruto, but nevertheless I still want you to give you this, he said, pointing at the scroll in his lap. Okay, I'll accept it, but what's in it and how can it make me even stronger than you? Naruto asked curiously. Naruto, what I'm about to reveal is a Hokage's secret. The only people who know about it are the Hokages themselves and their successors, he said, standing up and moving to the center of the room. He unraveled the scroll, revealing 4 sections of the scroll, each marked with a 1, 2, 3 and 4. Like before, he bit his thumb hard enough to draw blood, and in each section he wrote his name and left his bloody handprint. Turning back to Naruto, he said, what I'm about to do is something that should only be done in an emergency, and I think your situation qualifies. After speaking, he turned back to the scroll and went through the hand seals for a simple summoning jutsu and slammed his hands down on the floor. The symbols for the summoning jutsu spread out on the floor until they reached the scroll, and a summoning circle appeared in each section under the numbers. 4 puffs of smoke erupted from each section of the scroll. When the smoke cleared, 4 men were revealed. The first man had dark tan skin, brown eyes and long black hair. He was wearing red metal plating armor similar to samurais and black ninja sandals. On the collar of his armor was the Senju clan symbol, and he was also wearing a hitai on his forehead with the Konoha symbol. The second man had shaggy white hair, red eyes and red streaks under each eye, on one on his chin. He also wore samurai armor similar to the first man, only blue in color, black ninja sandals and a face guard with the Konoha symbol on the front. The third man had brown eyes with black vertical slits beneath them, brown spiked hair and a small goatee. He wore a black full-body jumpsuit with a mesh shirt beneath the top. There were gray armor plates on both shoulders, and he wore a hitai with long black straps across his forehead. The last man was fair-skinned with cerulean blue eyes and spiky blonde hair and two bangs that framed the sides of his face. He wore the standard Konoha Jonin uniform with two bands on each sleeve, green flak jacket and a Konoha hittai across his forehead. He also wore a short-sleeved trench coat with flames at the bottom. These men were the first, second, third and fourth Hokages of Konoha. The former Hokages took a moment to orient themselves before they focused on the person who summoned them. The first to speak was Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage. "You've gotten old, Saru," he said, looking at his former student. Old Sarutobi's sweat dropped at hearing that out of the mouth of a man he hadn't seen in over 40 years. "Thank you, sensei. I've missed you too," he said sarcastically. "It's nice to see you again, monkey brat," said Tobirama Senju, the second Hokage. "Thank you, sensei. It's nice to see you too," responded old Sarutobi. "You are one handsome man," said the Sarutobi that looked at least 30 years younger than the other. "When you're right, you're right. Who am I to disagree with you?" said the old Sarutobi. "While it is nice to see you again, if you summoned us, then what's the emergency?" asked the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze. "Hey, who's the blonde brat?" asked Tobirama. "This is my successor, the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze. Minato, allow me to introduce my senseis and your predecessors, the first and second Hokage Hashirama and Tobirama Senju," the old Hokage said formally. The three men bowed deeply to each other. When Tobirama straightened, he spoke again. "Nice to meet you, Minato, but I was actually talking about the other blonde brat with his jaw on the floor and his eyes bugging out," he said, pointing at Naruto over on the couch. True to his word, Naruto's eyes were as big as ramen bowls and his jaw was sitting in his lap. He had been sitting like that since the smoke cleared to reveal each man. As each man was revealed, his eyes got progressively larger, but it wasn't until the fourth was revealed that his jaw fell open. "He's right there. My father. How can he be there when he died 6 years ago?" thought Naruto. "This gentleman is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. He is the reason I've summoned you all. Naruto carries a burden all of you are familiar with." "The Kyuubi," they all said at the same time. "What? How did you know that?" asked Naruto. "I was married to the first Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, and I've also had the misfortune to fight the beast on more than one occasion," said Hashirama. "I'm a sensor. I can feel the two different energies flowing through you," said Tobirama. "I'm a sensor as well, and I've spent a lot of time around the first two Jinchurikis of the Kyuubi," said the young Sarutobi. Minato slowly approached what could only be his son and kneeled down in front of him, frowning when he spotted the blood on his clothes. "Like the first Hokage, I was in love with a Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, so I know what the Kyuubi feels like, even sealed away." "What happened to your clothes, Naruto?" he asked casually. Before Naruto could answer, old Sarutobi spoke. "I will explain that, but first, Naruto, I want to explain to you how the former Hokages are here. Do you remember when you first woke up here and you saw those copies of me before they went up in smoke?" "Yes, Gigi. Well, those were called shadow clones. There are many different types of clones ninja use in combat, like water clones or earth clones. These four Hokages are also a type of clone. They're called blood clones. The blood clone jutsu makes a complete copy of that person's memory and can fully utilize its very own chakra network. Where most clones would disperse after a strong hit or even when their maker died, these clones could live independently of their creator. There are drawbacks to using this jutsu. You must sacrifice half of your blood and 90% of your chakra. When I used this jutsu, I was in a coma for a week. If someone were to try to use this jutsu when they were not 100% healthy, it could very well kill them, which is why it's not even listed on the Forbidden Scroll. It is only passed from Hokage to successor. If you recall, I told you that there was a Hokage secret that only the Hokage himself and his successor knew. Well, that secret is that whenever someone accepts the title of Hokage, they are required to perform the blood clone jutsu and seal it away in that black scroll they came out of. They were only to be released in case of dire emergency. The reason I released them was to give you something every child deserves, and that is family and protection. Even though this is only a clone of your father, it's the closest I could come to giving you the family that was taken from you." Naruto couldn't take it anymore. He jumped off the couch and rushed to the old Hokage, wrapped him in a hug as tight as he could and cried his eyes out. Sarutobi did his best to hold back his own tears, but they rolled down his cheeks anyway. After about 10 minutes, Naruto had cried himself to sleep and Sarutobi returned him to the couch so he could be comfortable. With that done, he turned and faced the clones of his fellow Hokages. "Sarutobi, what the hell is going on?" demanded the clone of the fourth Hokage. Sighing deeply, the old Sarutobi explained Naruto's life up to this point. By the time he was finished, the clones ran the emotional gauntlet from disappointment in the village they all vowed to protect with their lives to downright murderous. Although the fourth also had a healthy dose of shame, knowing he, or rather the original, condemned Naruto to this existence. "If I could, I would kick my own ass from here to Snow Country," the fourth Hokage's clone said miserably. You have an opportunity your creator will never have. You can be there for him now. You can train him to defend himself, all of you can. That's why I released you from the scroll in the first place. I want all of you to train him. Whoever interfered with Kushina during her childbirth knew what they were doing when they released the Kyuubi. I'm afraid whoever it was is not done yet and will come after Naruto sooner or later, and being trained by Hokages he will have a better chance of surviving. The original Sarutobi said. Do you even have to ask? Naruto will be the most dangerous man in the world when I'm done training him, said the Minato clone. You mean when we're done training him, said the clone of the first. Even if he wasn't a distant relative I would still train him. I'm with you, brother. What this village has done to a child is beyond forgiving. We will make him a force to be reckoned with, spoke the clone of the second. The clone of the third Hokage looked his creator in the eye. If I know you, and I think you've been killing yourself over not being able to protect him. Don't worry, I'll do what you could, he said. The original Sarutobi just looked at his clone and nodded his head gratefully. I think it's time we leave, said the first Hokage. Where do we go? We can't possibly train the kid in the village, stated Tobirama. The Whirlpool Village, said the fourth. It has been abandoned for years. No one would think to look for anyone there, and from what Kushina told me of it, it's a solitary island surrounded by whirlpools, so it's very isolated. We could get some serious training done with minimum interruptions. As he spoke he made his way over to the couch Naruto rested on and gently lifted him in his arms. I have some weapons stashed in my head on the Hokage monument. I'll pick them up and meet you all at the border of Fire Country and Water Country in 3 hours. Sound good? We all should have similar stashes, and it would be better if we split up in case we're spotted. I'll see you in 3 hours, said the clone of the third. He disappeared in a leaf shunsen. When the clone of the third left, the clone of the fourth disappeared in a flash of yellow with the still sleeping Naruto in his arms. Well, I guess this is goodbye again, monkey brat. Next time you see that kid he'll be able to go toe-to-toe with your best without breaking a sweat, guaranteed, said the clone of the second before he disappeared in a water shunsen. I can tell your will of fire, dimmed Saru, but with this act you're stoking it to an inferno. Goodbye my student, said the clone of first before he simply melded into the floor and was gone. Sighing, the Hokage moved to the window overlooking the village, wondering what the future would bring to his village. Currently a 6-year-old Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze was in an open grass area in front of his 4 senseis about to begin his training in the ninja arts. He was wearing simple loose-fitting black pants, gray kimono top with a mesh armor shirt beneath it with a black sash holding the kimono together, and black shinobi sandals. He was standing at attention, hands at his sides, eyes forward, waiting for his senseis to begin explaining his training. He didn't have to wait long because the first Hokage stepped forward and began. Well Naruto, I'm glad to see you're mentally ready to begin training. The coming years will be difficult. We intend to train you until you die and drop, and then we will resurrect you and rain you some more, he said, looking his student in the eye. We are masters of the shinobi arts, you are the student. It is our job to teach you and it is your job to learn, he said in a stern but kindly tone. Are you ready to begin? Yes Hashirama-sensei, Naruto said quickly. Good, let us begin. And so began the training of a legend by legends. Year 1. 6:00 I'm physical training. W Hashirama-sensei. 10 laps around the village with 20 pounds on each wrist and 40 on each leg, followed by 20 laps in the river. 10:00 I'm shower and breakfast. 11:00 I'm nin, gen and taijutsu theory. W Sarutobi sensei. 1:00 PM lunch. 2:00 PM basic weapons training. W Tobirama sensei. 5:00 PM Funjutsu theories. W Minato sensei. 7:00 PM dinner. 9:00 PM bedtime. Year 2. 6 o'clock I'm physical training. W Hashirama sensei. 25 laps around the village with 40 pounds on each wrist and 80 pounds on each leg, followed by 40 laps in the river. 10:00 I'm shower and breakfast. 11:00 I'm chakra control and strategy. W Sarutobi sensei. 1:00 PM lunch. 2:00 PM target practice, tracking and trapping. W Tobirama sensei. 5:00 PM beginners Funjutsu. W Minato sensei. 7:00 PM dinner. 9:00 PM bedtime. Year 3. 6:00 I'm physical training. W Hashirama sensei. 50 laps around the village, 80 pounds on each wrist and 160 pounds on each leg, followed by 60 laps in the river. 10:00 AM shower and breakfast. 11:00 AM chakra control, strategy, basic academy jutsu. W Sarutobi sensei. 1:00 PM lunch. 2:00 PM target practice, advanced tracking and trapping. W Tobirama sensei. 5:00 PM intermediate Funjutsu. W Minato sensei. At this level you begin to create your own basic seals. 7:00 PM dinner. 9:00 PM bedtime. Year 4. 6:00 I'm physical training. W Hashirama sensei. 80 laps around the village with 100 pounds on each wrist and 200 pounds on each leg and 100 laps in the river. 10:00 shower and breakfast. 11:00 chakra control, strategy, politics and law. W Sarutobi Sensei. 1:00 p.m. lunch. 2:00 p.m. Kenjutsu training. W Tobirama Sensei. 5:00 p.m. Advanced Funjutsu. W Minato Sensei. At this level you should be able to identify certain level seals and unravel them. 7:00 p.m. dinner. 9:00 p.m. bedtime. Year 5. 6:00 physical and earth jutsu training. W Hashirama Sensei. 500 punches and kicks with each arm and leg against a training post, physical weights replaced with gravity seals. 10:00 shower and breakfast. 11:00 p.m. chakra control, fire jutsus and bojutsu training. W Sarutobi Sensei. 1:00 p.m. lunch. 2:00 p.m. kenjutsu, water jutsu and genjutsu training. Nobirama Sensei. 5:00 p.m. wind, lightning and funjutsu training. W Minato Sensei. 8:00 p.m. dinner. 10:00 p.m. bedtime. Year 6. 6:00 physical and earth jutsu training. W Hashirama Sensei. 1000 punches and kicks with each arm and leg. 10:00 shower and breakfast. 11:00 chakra control, fire jutsu and bojutsu training. W Sarutobi Sensei. 1:00 p.m. lunch. 2:00 kenjutsu, water jutsu and genjutsu. W Tobirama Sensei. 5:00 p.m. wind, lightning and funjutsu. W Minato Sensei. 8:00 p.m. dinner. 10:00 bedtime. Year 7. 6:00 sparring. Hashirama Sensei. 9:00 shower and breakfast. 10:00 sparring. Sarutobi Sensei. 1:00 p.m. lunch. 2:00 p.m. sparring. Tobirama Sensei. 5:00 p.m. sparring. Minato Sensei. 8:00 p.m. dinner. 10:00 p.m. bedtime. Oda Hokage, Fire Country. I need a drink was the utmost thought of one Naruto Namikaze as he walked down the street towards a bar in Oda Hokage. It's been 10 years since he began his torturous training in the Shinobi arts. 9 years of training under his senseis and 1 year of real-world experience as a bounty hunter known only as Rashi. Naruto was now 6 feet 1 inch tall, chiseled medium-build body. His blonde hair that was in his youth short and spiky was now cornrowed towards the back of his head, and the end of which reached between his shoulder blades, and a face mask that covered everything from his nose to his throat. He was wearing a green camouflage flak jacket with a black t-shirt underneath. Over the flak jacket he wore a black sleeveless leather trench coat, and both his arms were wrapped in black athletic tape from elbow to wrist, and on his hands were black fingerless gloves. He was also wearing Anbo-style pants with gray shin guards over black shinobi sandals. I need that drink and I need it now, Naruto thought with some urgency. The reason he was in need of a drink was because tomorrow he was going back to the village of his birth and offer his services as a shinobi. He promised his senseis he would give the village a chance to redeem themselves after what they did to him. He hasn't forgotten his earlier childhood, and he damn sure hasn't forgiven the people who tormented him. Naruto hastened his steps towards the bar so he could try and drown out the feeling of impending doom the thought of going back to the hidden leaf had created. When Naruto entered the tavern he headed straight for the bar and a bottle of sake. "Barkeep, a bottle of sake over here," he said to the man behind the counter. "You old enough to be in here, son?" the man asked. "Look, don't give me a hard time. If I can't hold my liquor then I shouldn't be drinking and I would deserve whatever I got. Just give me the damn bottle," he said sharply. "Whatever, I'm not responsible just because you wanted to play grown-up," he said, sitting down a bottle of sake and a saucer. Yeah, Naruto said, foregoing the saucer and drinking straight from the bottle. After downing half the bottle, Naruto felt his nerves equalize again. Scanning the bar, he let his eyes drift over the other patrons. It was just the usual assortment of people found in the less reputable bars in every town. Drunks, hookers, small-time crooks, no one worth the hassle of getting in a fight with. He was about to turn back to his bottle when his eyes pierced the darkness of a corner table and he spotted a woman about 25 years old nursing a saucer of sake. "She is too pretty to drink alone," he said quietly to himself before he raised his voice to the barkeep. Another bottle over. After receiving another bottle he made his way over to her table and stopped just before entering the shadows himself. "Excuse me, miss, but you are way too pretty to be drinking alone," he said. The woman looked up from her saucer and stared at him with a pair of hypnotic dark eyes. "I bet you say that to all the girls in dive bars like this," she said mockingly. "There's never any one of your caliber of pretty in dive bars like this. I guess I just lucked out. May I join you?" "Sure, I wouldn't mind the company," she said with a small smile. "How about a refill?" he asked, holding up the sake bottle. In response she just slid her saucer closer to him. After pouring himself a saucer full, he held it up out toward the woman across from him. To new acquaintances he toasted. To new acquaintances, she said, and sorry, no lemon yet. The next morning Naruto woke up to the feeling of an empty bed. Groaning, he pried his eyes open only to squeeze them shut again when the first thing he saw was a beam of sunlight. Ah. I really hate mornings. I'm sorry to hear that. I actually like mornings. At a chance to always start fresh, said a voice he immediately recognized from last night. Opening his eyes once more, he turned to the voice, which was near the bathroom door. Taking a good look at his partner in passion from last night, he was disappointed to see she was already dressed. How'd you slip away from to get dressed? I've been told I'm a cuddler. It wasn't easy, believe me, but I have to go. My traveling companion will be up soon and we have to get back on the road, she said. Traveling companion? That's not a secret way of saying your husband, is it? He asked, stealing glances at the door as if someone was going to charge through it at any minute. Ha 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 ha. No, I'm not married. My traveling companion is my teacher and practically raised me. It was really nice meeting you, and thanks for the company last night, I really needed it, she said, making her way over to him where he still lay reclined in the bed. She leaned over and kissed him softly on the lips before she pulled away and walked towards the bedroom door. Goodbye, Arashi, she said without turning back to face him. Goodbye, Shizune, he said to the empty room. Halt! A voice said sternly as Naruto was approaching the gates of his home village. After Shizune left the room, it didn't take long for Naruto to follow suit. He took a quick shower and put on what he called his work clothes, a clean version of the outfit he wore the day before. He was stopped by two guards at the gates. The one that spoke had shaggy black hair, a goatee and a bandage across his nose, and was wearing the standard Konoha Shinobi outfit with his headband across his forehead. His partner standing next to him had brown hair and dark eyes. He was also wearing the standard Konoha Shinobi outfit with a bandana-style forehead protector. What's your business here? Asked the one with the bandage. I'm a bounty hunter. I have a priority bounty for the Hokage or Viki Morino. It's for their eyes only. Naruto said. Identification? Sighing, Naruto unhooked one of the pockets of his flak jacket and retrieved his bounty hunter's license to show to the guards. After both men looked over the ID and recorded the pertinent information, it was given back to him. Alright, Arashi-san, head to the center of the village to the Hokage Tower, tall white building with a fire kanji on it. You'll find the Hokage on the top floor, said the bandana-wearing shinobi. Thank you, Naruto said and made his way into the village proper. He walked slowly, trying to take in his surroundings as well as sort out his feelings about being back. Let's see, there's anger at being back here, there's resentment for making the damn promise in the first place. There's also excitement about seeing the old man again. But there's no nostalgia. It's official, I did not miss this place, just one person in it, Naruto thought to himself. While Naruto was lost in his thoughts, he walked on autopilot to the tower and up the stairs, and before he knew it he was in front of the Hokage's secretary. My name is Arashi, I have a priority bounty for the Hokage, he told the woman behind the desk. Please have a seat, I'll see if the Hokage can see you now, she said, and knocked on the Hokage's door before entering. She was back before he even had a chance to get comfortable. He can see you now, Arashi-san. Can I get you some tea or coffee? She asked. No thank you, miss, he declined politely and walked past her to the office. When he entered, he was finally hit with a feeling of nostalgia. This was where it all changed for me, he thought, looking at the couch where he laid to recover from the beating of that night, to the center of the floor where his four senseis literally popped into his life. Moving his eyes to the only other visible presence in the office, he almost stopped dead in his tracks. It's almost like a time warp. The last time I saw this man he was 30 years younger. What a mindfuck. Arashi-san, I've heard about your exploits as a bounty hunter. I'm surprised to see someone so young with a reputation for always bringing in their target dead or alive. The old Kage said in a measured tone. I was told you have a priority bounty for me. Yes sir, I do. Aside from that, I have other business I would like to speak with you about. First let us get this out of the way, he said, unlocking a pocket on his flak jacket and letting a scroll with a red band around it slide into his palm. This is the head of Konoha missing ninja Aoi Rokuso, he said before retrieving another scroll from his pocket. This time a green one is further proof, and this scroll is the sword of the thunder god, the Raijin. Sarutobi immediately opened the green scroll to verify that it was indeed the sword of his sensei Tobirama Senju. Making a discreet hand signal, an Anbu with a bear mask appeared next to the Hokage. Bear, take this scroll, he said, holding up the scroll with the red band to Anbu HQ, and have them verify the remains of Aoi Rokuso. Yes sir, Lord Hokage, the bear Anbu said before leaving in a shunsen. The Hokage looked back to the young man standing at attention in front of him. That sword was worth 100 times more than Aoi Rokusuho. You could have killed him and kept the sword. Why turn it in? He asked suspiciously. Naruto was not at all offended by the question, having become used to no one trusting him. Bounty hunters only being one step up from mercenaries. I have too much respect for the Senju clan to keep a family heirloom. And I really had no need of it, it's not my style. While we wait for confirmation, could we move on to that other business I spoke of? Raising a brow at the change of subject, Sarutobi didn't think it would hurt to hear the young man out. It man helped jog his memory about why this boy seemed so familiar. Yes, I don't see why not. Clearing his throat, Naruto said, well, what I have to say is sensitive information about myself. I would rather you be the only one to hear it for now, he said, making reference to the other hidden Anbu in the room. The old Kage nodded in agreement before signaling his Anbu to leave the room. So what is the business you wanted to discuss with me? He asked when they were alone. In response, Naruto simply pulled his face mask down and smiled at the way the old man's eyes bugged out. Well, I wanted to see about joining the village, sensei. Okami, Naruto, he said in a whisper. Before we go any further, you should put up a security barrier. I don't want anything I'm about to say to get to the wrong people, Naruto said. Sarutobi quickly activated a security seal under his desk, and before Naruto had a chance to brace himself, he was picked up in a hug that could crush a tree trunk. Wheeze. GG, can't breath. Naruto managed to get out before he could lose consciousness. Oh, I'm sorry, my boy, said Sarutobi, sitting Naruto back on his feet and stepping back only far enough to get a good look at him. It's just so good to see you again. Quite honestly, I never expected you to come back here after what was done to you, said the old Kage. I promised my senseis that I would give Konoha another chance. I was taught to forgive but never forget, he said solemnly. Sarutobi nodded his head in understanding. Speaking of your senseis, what happened to them after you finished training? What you would expect to happen when you have 4 warriors in their prime in one place. They decided to end their existence in a manner fitting them, a free-for-all Hokage battle royal, Naruto said with a smile. I didn't stick around to view the results. I have a feeling I would have been caught in the crossfire had I stayed. Sarutobi couldn't help but laugh at the prospect of going against both his senseis and Minato. I would be very surprised if Uzu is still standing after that battle. So tell me about your training, tell me about yourself. Both men moved back to their respective seats before Naruto outlined his training with the clones of previous Kage's training was what you would expect under such strong men. Grueling, tortuous, I was trained to death and beyond, and every second of it was worth it. They trained me for 9 years, and for the past year I've been gaining real-world experience as a bounty hunter. Yes, as Arashi, as I've said before, you've quite the reputation for always bringing in your targets, the Hokage said, impressed with his skills. Yes, it was during my work as a bounty hunter that I came across some information that pushed me into the decision to come to Konoha earlier than I expected. He paused there and looked the old Kage in his eyes. Orochimaru is planning to invade your village during the last round of the Chunin exams when you host them this year, he said in a dead calm voice. Sarutobi was first startled by the look in Naruto's eyes. Must have put him through hell before he even left the island. He wasn't kidding when he said they trained him to death and beyond. How did you come across this information? He asked back in Hokage mode. Naruto sighed and sat back in his seat. I was passing through the land of rice a few months ago, when I heard rumors of a new shinobi village looking for soldiers. It's called the Village Hidden in the Sound, by the way. So I hung around to see what the place was about. Suffice it to say, when I found out that Orochimaru was the Hokage, I did not have a good feeling about the intentions of the village as a whole. The only reason I didn't hightail it straight away was because I wanted to first gather some information just in case I would need it later. They were prepping for something big. I was one of the low men on the totem pole, so I wasn't privy to sensitive information, but a couple of wannabe jonin who couldn't hold their liquor were. They told me they were prepping for an invasion of Konoha. Naruto stopped there to let what he said sink in. Sink in it did. Sarutobi's mind was going a mile. Minute arrangements have to be made, a full council meeting to plan a counter-strike, provisions for civilians, and find out where the hell Jiraiya is. He's supposed to be my spy master. Why didn't he know this? Sarutobi thought to himself. You okay over there, sensei? Because there is something else I want to get out of the way. It's about me joining the ranks. I know there is a law on the books that says as long as a citizen of Konoha was trained by a Chunin ranked or higher member of the ninja ranks, then with the approval of the Hokage and sensei they can skip the academy. That is exactly what I want to do. Naruto said. How did you know that? That law is as old as I am. You taught me, he said simply. I don't see a problem with that. Sending you to the academy would do more harm than good in your case. Is there anything else? Yeah, I'll be going by Arashi for the time being. I'm not ready to announce my return just yet. Like I said, I can forgive but I won't forget. I won't let an unprovoked attack go with serious repercussions either, he said in a cold voice to match his now ice-cold eyes. Very well, you'll be under probation for at least a year to prove your loyalty. The reason for this is if you are not under probation, then the question becomes what makes you so special to already have my trust? And I assume we want to avoid such questions. Would you like me to arrange a place for you live? He asked. That's okay, I can handle that myself. You know you will have the rank of Jinan, and if you wish to be promoted then you will have to go through the Chunin and Jonin exams. Come to the missions office tomorrow 10 a.m. to receive your first mission. You'll either work solo or on an already established Jinan team until I can find you something permanent. I'll see you tomorrow then, Sensei Naruto said, bowing to the Hokage and making his way towards the door. Arashi. Sarutobi spoke suddenly, you're going to need this. Naruto aka Arashi turned around and caught what was tossed to him, and it turned out to be a headband with a leaf symbol on it and a long black strap similar to the Hokage's own. Thanks Gigi, Naruto said, smiling at the old man before he walked out. First order of business is to find some food. Let's see, what do I want? Ramen, barbecue, ramen, dango, ramen, sushi or ramen? Tough choice. He was brought out of his thoughts by someone saying his name. Arashi, is that you? A voice said just ahead of him. Asuma? He asked, surprised to see the bearded chain smoker here. Asuma Sarutobi was a man he had met when he first started out in the bounty hunter business. Back then he looked kind of like a bum compared to the clean look he had now. He was wearing a standard Konoha outfit with a sash with the kanji for fire on it at his waist. Well, never expected to meet you in Konoha of all places. You here for work? He asked while blowing out smoke from the side of his mouth. Actually yeah, I am. I'm also here to join the ranks, he said, holding up his new headband. Well, that calls for a welcoming drink. I'm buying, I won't be turning down a free drink. Come on, I know a place that's close by, Asuma said, leading the way past a few food stalls. It was a silent 5-minute walk before they came to a bar called the Wet Leaf. It was a shinobi hangout, a place much like the dive bars he was used to hanging out in. It was a place where if you mind your manners and your own business you could have a good time. They got a couple of bottles of sake and were about to choose a table before Asuma saw some people he knew. You mind if we join some friends of mine? He asked. Not at all, lead the way. Asuma made his way to a table in the back corner of the room. At the table were 3 people that Naruto knew on sight. He never met them but knows their faces from various bingo books. Hey guys, this is Arashi. Arashi, let me introduce. He was interrupted before he could continue. No need to introduce these people. This is Kurenai Yui, Genjutsu specialist. She has a $5 million bounty in the Hidden Grass Village for castrating one of their top-ranking jonin. Next to her is Onko Mitarashi, wanted in the Hidden Rock Village, 10 million alive and 5 million dead, snake summoner, poison and interrogation specialist. Approach with extreme caution. Copycat Kakashi Hitake, ninjutsu specialist said to have copied 1,000 jutsu. Extremely intelligent and has a bounty in Kuma for $15 million for his participation in the last war, and wanted in the Hidden Rock for $50 million for his participation in the war and also for being a student of the 4th Hokage. Man, Asuma, you keep some pretty famous and dangerous company, Naruto said, chuckling. His recitation of their bounty sheets got a reaction out of all 3 at the table. Anko smirked at hearing the price on her head. Ha 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 ha. Any job worth doing is worth doing right, she said, raising a cup of sake to her lips. I only wished I hadn't cut his balls off so quick. The next time I'll heat up a rusty, dull knife and then cut someone's balls off, Kurenai said with ice in her voice. Kakashi simply lowered his book, which was a big tell if you knew the man. Who's your friend Asuma? He seems to know us quite well. Kakashi asked nonchalantly. I'm Arashi. I was a bounty hunter up until about 20 minutes ago when I joined the Hidden Leaf. It was part of my job to remember notable bounties, Naruto said, shrugging away the question. So you're new in town, huh? How do you like it so far? Asked Anko. Naruto looked her in the eye. Well, I've only been in town a short while, but everything I've laid my eyes on is absolutely breathtaking, he said, making Anko blush slightly. Arashi? As in the bounty hunter? I've heard of you. They call you the Perfect Storm, because of your perfect bounty record, Kakashi said, jumping into the conversation. Chuckling sheepishly, Naruto scratched the back of his head, and I smiled to the people at the table. I'd rather have a much cooler name than Perfect Storm. With that kind of name there's a lot of pressure to succeed, he said, looking off in the distance as if seeing the future. What happens when I fail? I'll be mocked and ridiculed, then I'll start drinking heavily to hide the hurt, and when booze doesn't work I'll turn to drugs. My job performance will steadily decline and I'll get ridiculed even more. When the booze and drugs refuse to work, I'll turn to women to help hide the pain in a few hours of mutual ecstasy. That will last a few years until the right woman comes along and sets me back on the right path, only for an old enemy to surface and kill her in an act of revenge. We clash in a battle of epic proportions, and when the dust is cleared, only the body of my enemy is left behind while I disappear, never to be seen again, he said, rain clouds forming over his head. I should go find the bastard who gave me that nickname. He ruined my life. The others were stuck with their mouths open and sweat drops in the back of their heads for his rant that came out of nowhere. Asuma coughed lightly to break the silence. Anyway, I met Arashi in the capital when I was still a guardian. We hung out when he was in town. So why did you decide to join Konoha? I thought you were happy bounty hunting. I was happy, but I figured I could be a better service to the Land of Fire in a more direct way as an official shinobi, Naruto explained. So where in the Land of Fire were you born? Kurenai asked. Oh, just outside of Konoha, not very far really, he said vaguely. So what's there fun to do around here? I officially start my shinobi career tomorrow, so I want to have some fun before I'm on call 24/7. Well, I know of a couple of places we could go to, but I have serious doubts about you keeping up with the adults, Anko said. That sounds like a challenge to me, Naruto said, standing and leaning over the table directly in her face. That was definitely a challenge, Blondie. I could drink you under the table in an hour, she said, raising a sake bottle up and toasting Naruto. Bottoms up, brat, she said, chugging from the bottle. Naruto picked up his own bottle. Yours will be by the end of the night, he said, smirking and taking a drink. Anko starting choking on her drink. I wonder, Anko, are you blushing or is that red on your face from almost choking to death? Kakashi asked casually, only to crash face first into the table from a punch to the head from said red-faced girl. Barkeep 10 bottles of your best sake. Loser pays the tab, Anko challenged. Deal. Naruto accepted. Nickelback, burn it to the ground. Well, it's midnight. Damn right, we're wound up too tight. I've got fistful of 50s, the bottle just bit me. Oh, that shit makes me batshit crazy. We've got no fear. No doubt, all in, balls out. We're going off tonight to kick out every light. Take anything we want, drink everything in sight. We're going till the world stops spinning while we burn it to the ground tonight. Naruto and Anko were stumbling through Anko's apartment door in a frenzy of kissing and groping each other. Do you think that they will be upset if we stuck them with a bill? Naruto asked between kisses. Moaning as Naruto moved from her lips to sucking on her nipples through her shirt, she said, they apostrophe read out, oh. Used to being stuck with the bill with me. Zip. There goes Naruto's flak jacket. Whoosh. There goes Anko's trench coat. Come on, Blondie, let's see if you really have staying power, Anko said, grabbing Naruto's hand and leading him into her bedroom. In a matter of minutes they were rolling around naked on Anko's bed, each one trying to come out on top of the other. Naruto ended up on top and moved from her lips to the side of her neck, pressing his tongue into the nerve cluster between her shoulder and neck. There was a muscle with a nerve running through it that usually got a woman juicing like never before. Taking her shivers as a good sign, Naruto slid his hand down her stomach and right to her moist pussy lips. Spreading her folds, he immediately pushed a finger into her core while at the same time using his thumb to massage her clit. Oh my Kami, that feels good. Taking her moaning as another good sign, Naruto added a second finger to her pussy and massaged her clit just a little rougher. It wasn't long before she came quite vocally with a shriek of pleasure and wetness all over his hand. You're delicious, Anko, he said softly while licking his fingers and staring her in the eyes. My turn, she said, smiling seductively before she rolled Naruto on his back and began kissing down his rock-hard chest and 8-pack abs. She didn't stop until she got to his cock that was standing tall and straight like a proud shoulder. She began by slowly licking the base, working her way up with little flicks of her tongue. Naruto reached past her arm and began gently stroking Anko's magnificent breasts, causing her to moan around his length in her mouth. Oh Kami, that feels good. Naruto moaned as she took his entire length in her mouth and down her throat. He looked down to watch the purple-haired beauty slowly and repeatedly engulf his dick from tip to base, before she changed up the tempo and began bobbing her head up and down his length in rapid succession. Thankfully she went back to deep-throating him at a slow pace, and Naruto took that opportunity to reach around and drag her ass closer to him to reach between her legs and began stroking her moist folds again, eliciting another moan from her. When he felt Anko shuddering slightly, he pulled her off his cock with a wet pop, laid her beneath him and entered her in one deep thrust where their pelvis bones met, getting a moan of pleasure and a gasp. Naruto tried very hard not to concentrate on the fact he was fucking the hell out of one of the hottest women he had ever met so far. He could feel his balls warning him that he was going to explode soon, so he did what he usually did to stave off his orgasm. He mentally went through hand seals. That always got him to back off. Anko was meeting him thrust for the moment, So Naruto hooked her left leg over his elbow and for the next 5 minutes switched between slow measured strokes and a rapid pounding that had the sound of flesh echoing through the room. That really got her going. Anko let out screaming orgasm that was surely heard throughout her complex. He stopped to let her catch her breath. He wasn't even winded yet. He looked down at the purple-haired woman beneath. "You okay, Ankaken?" Anko was panting slightly and looked at him like he had 2 heads. "Of course I'm alright. You think a couple of great orgasms are going to put me to sleep? You need more than that for me to call it quits." The smirk on Naruto's face could be considered pure evil good because I'm just getting started and we have all night, he said, sliding back into her. Anko gasped with pleasure when he was fully seated within her, but then what he said kicked and she looked up at him with pleading eyes. "Oh Kemi, have mercy." "Not hardly," he said gruffly. This time he kept her on the brink of orgasm without ever letting her have a release. He would pound into her until he felt her pussy walls begin to tighten around his manhood, and then he would slow down to slow methodical strokes. This kept on for the next hour until Anko was on the verge of hysteria beneath him, begging to let her come. Feeling his own build up, Naruto pounded into Anko for all he was worth. She came with a scream that definitely made it out of the apartment complex. Naruto wasn't far behind as her pussy gripped his cock and he came with a toe-curling emptying of his balls into her snatch. Naruto rolled off of Anko and laid next to her, trying to catch his breath. "How you doing, Anko?" he asked, panting slightly. "Zzzzzzzzzzz" was her only response. Naruto smiled to himself. "I might actually like it here. Aw man, I'm so bored." Arashi complained out loud for anyone to hear. It's been just over 6 months since he entered into the service of Konoha, and it's been just over 6 months of living hell. Well, not complete hell. Anko has been a continuous bright spot for him. But other than Anko, it's been errands for the Hokage, chores for the civilians, and training. He's on his way to the Hokage now after receiving word that he wanted to see him. Deciding to forego the long walk, he used the Sunshine Jutsu to appear directly at the outer door of the Hokage's office. He was about to knock when he heard a loud enter. "You sent for me, Hokage-sama?" he asked. "Yes I did, Arashi," the Hokage said, looking up from his paperwork. "I've found a team for you. It's a brand new Junon squad that just graduated the academy. One of the members had a nervous breakdown after the capture Tora mission and now refuses to leave his home, so that leaves an opening for you," he explained. Naruto bowed his head in a moment of silence for whoever that poor bastard was. He himself had to catch Tora at least 10 times in the last 6 months by himself, and if he had to catch the thing again he would not be responsible for his actions. "So whose team am I on? I know that the only new squads belong to Asuma, Kurenai, and Kakashi. So who is the lucky winner?" "That would be Kakashi. I have some more good news for you. Kakashi put in for a C-rank mission before he discovered his students' mental issues. They should be waiting at the East Gate for you right now. I know being cooped up in the village has been grating on you, so take this chance to stretch your legs." Naruto I smiled at the old man. "Thank you, Hokage-sama, it'll be good to travel again. If they're waiting I better get going," he said, making his way to the door. "Kakashi-sensei, what are we waiting for? We were supposed to leave 10 minutes ago," questioned one pink-haired impatient kunoichi named Sakura Haruno. She was standing next to an equally impatient Sasuke Uchiha. "We are waiting for your new teammate. He should be arriving soon, so just be patient a little longer," he said with his nose in his favorite book. Tazuna, the man they were to escort on this mission, just leaned against the gate seemingly without a care in the world. "No need to wait any longer, I'm here," Naruto announced from on top of the guard's shack to the side of the gate. Tazuna, Sakura and Sasuke were visibly surprised by the sudden appearance of another human being. Where did he come from? Sakura thought frantically. Damn it. I didn't even know he was there until he spoke. Sasuke thought, mad at himself for dropping his guard. Tazuna's response to the sudden appearance was to reach for his jug of sake and take a swig to steady his nerves. Well, since we're all here, because Kaido is unable to continue his career, this is his replacement, Arashi. Arashi, this is Sakura Haruno and Sasuke Uchiha. The man leaning on the gate is Tazuna, the bridge builder. It's our mission to get him back to his country of Wave and protect him while he finishes his bridge. We can save the proper introductions for later, we're already behind schedule, we should get going, Kakashi said, turning and moving towards the gate. Well, it's nice meeting the both of you, I hope we can work well together, Arashi said and followed Kakashi out the gate. Sakura and Sasuke followed behind the two after that very brief introduction. The new Team 7 was currently walking in the diamond formation. Arashi was at the front, having more experience than the other two and thereby being more able to spot an ambush or enemy shinobi. Sakura and Sasuke were to the left and right of Tazuna, who was in the center with Kakashi bringing up the rear. An hour after quiet traveling, Sakura decided to break the silence and try and get some information on her new masked teammate. So Arashi-san, I don't recall seeing you in the academy. How long have you been a shinobi? She asked. Sasuke broke himself out of his brooding enough to listen in on the conversation, because even though he was curious he would be damned before he actually asked any questions himself. Well, officially only about 6 months, but I was a bounty hunter before joining Konoha, he replied. What was that like? It was okay. I wasn't tied down to one place and I could take any job I wanted to or refuse a job if I wanted to with no consequences. As they were talking, Arashi was constantly surveying his surroundings, never dropping his guard as he was taught, which is why he caught the very pitiful genjutsu disguised as a puddle and held up a hand calling a halt to the walk. That's not a very good cover. It hasn't rained in at least a week. You would have had better luck disguising yourselves as a puddle of piss, Arashi said, much to the confusion of 3 out of the other 4 people there. Up out of the puddle rose 2 men in tattered cloaks. Both men had breathing masks on and headbands from the Hidden Mist village. They were also wearing iron-clawed gauntlets connected to each other's hand by a shuriken chain. Very funny, Blondie. Now why don't you hand over the old man and I give you my word to kill you quickly, the one on the right said. The demon brothers, Maizu, and Gozu, Chunin level missing nin from the Hidden Mist. Why don't you two give us the name of whoever hired you and I give you my word that you'll spend less time in the torture and interrogation division than necessary, Kakashi said casually as he walked up to the front of the formation, his book nowhere in sight. The demon brothers shared a brief glance before they both said no deal and attacked. Arashi, Sasuke, take them. Kakashi ordered. The brothers separated to extend the shuriken chain attached to their gauntlets and rushed forward to wrap it around the 2 genin who met them halfway. Arashi quickly summoned a shuriken and infused it with wind chakra and threw it at the chain connecting the 2 together. The chain was cut cleanly in half. Arashi put on a burst of speed and appeared in front the brother that had spoken. Gozu only had one thought before he felt an explosion of pain, then nothing fast. Naruto grabbed the back of his opponent's head and pulled it down while performing a jumping knee strike to the face. Gozu was lifted off the ground and thrown back by the power behind the attack. Before gravity could do its job, Arashi appeared above the still floating Gozu and hit him with a heel drop to the stomach, driving Gozu into the ground and creating a small crater. Brother, you should worry more about yourself, Sasuke said, appearing next to the distracted Maizu and delivering a bone-cracking kick to his ribs that sent him headfirst into a tree, knocking him unconscious. Both fights took less than 5 seconds. Kakashi was smiling at his 2 students as he tied the 2 unconscious brothers up. Very good, both of you. No hesitation, and you exploited their weaknesses. Now Tazuna-san, he said, dropping the smile and leaking very mild killing intent, you mind telling me why you're important enough to have Chunin level ninja after you? After listening to Tazuna stammer his way through his story, Kakashi put the fate of the mission to a team vote. It's up to you guys if we continue or not. This mission will only get more difficult from here on out, he cautioned. That's true. The demon brothers are known associates of Zabuza Momochi. If these 2 are here, then he's probably going to be the next obstacle we come across. I'm in, Arashi said. So am I. This is my first mission outside the village. I refuse to have an incomplete on my record, Sasuke said. I'm going to if Sasuke-kun's going, so am I. Then it's decided. Tazuna will finish the mission and protect you and your family to the best of our abilities, Kakashi said. Thank you. Thank you all so much. That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.